What's going on Facebook and YouTube? Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your brother and servant, Rasool Muhammad, aka Jabroni Engineer, joined by Tariq Cardiac. We are your Black and STEM podcast, the STEM Files, the voice of STEM talent in Black culture, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. On tonight's episode, we have my dear brother sitting right here to my right, Rasool Muhammad. He is the co-founder of Global Apprenticeship Foundation Incorporated, and we're going to talk about training STEM professionals for our communities. Stay tapped in. Make sure you like, comment, and share. Tune in after this, family. Man, as we always say, that intro never gets old, right?
Never.
Again, family, welcome. We know y'all been missing us. We are back with a vengeance. We are the STEM Files, where we highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. I am your humble co-host, Rasool Muhammad, aka Jabroni Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer focusing on naval ship fluid systems with a background in material science and engineering. I'm also the proud director of engineering for our parent company, Original Man Scientific. I am joined by my more illustrious little big brother. I say little big brother because he's taller than me, but he's younger than me. All right, out the way. My bro, Tariq Cardiac. What's going on, bro? Talk to the people.
Praise be to Allah. But as my brother said, yes, we are back with the vengeance. We took about a month off. We're back at it. I am Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a constant background and concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I am also the chief operating officer of Original Man Scientific, working right alongside my brother to make sure that we get the day-to-day things done for the company and much more. I'm happy to be back on the STEM Files. Let's go.
Yes, sir. As we say every time, family, it's not about us. We could talk all day. You know, I like to run my mouth, as y'all know. For those loyal followers, loyal audience members that know, we could talk. As you can see, the setup hit a little bit different today, a little bit different. So I am joined sitting right next to my not only bro, but my brother-in-law, who's going to talk to us about what he does with Global Apprenticeship. Without further ado, I want to present to everyone, introduce to everyone, brother Rasool Muhammad. What's going on, bro?
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. No. I'm Rasool Muhammad, aka, of course, Mr. International, world traveler, entrepreneur extraordinaire.
Yes, sir.
You know. So it's been a while. It's been a long time coming. You've been asking me to do this show for quite some time.
I have. You've been giving me the runaround.
Man, I've been busy, bro.
Yes, sir.
But of course, I get asked the question a lot. What do you do? What do you do? I get that. I literally just got asked that question like 2 times this week.
Right.
You know, and so it's a lot. I do a lot, you know, and of course y'all have my bio or whatnot. But in a nutshell, my focus is workforce and business development. I am the co-founder of Global Apprenticeship Foundation and a co-founder of Project Outsource Connects. Shout out to Project Outsource Connects. Actually, we're in the building right now.
Yes, sir.
This is one of our offices, and we've been dealing with workforce development for quite some time. Business development, we do everything from 501c3s, establishing them, setting up, and dealing with consultations. Also employing individuals, and our main focus at this moment for Global Apprenticeship is our solar installation apprenticeship.
Yes,
program.
sir. We're gonna get into that big and heavy. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
No, I'm excited.
But y'all the talkers, y'all gonna flow this.
All right, listen, but bro said a lot even in that little bit, and as he said, he did a lot. So definitely thankful for taking time out of your busy schedule, bro, because I know you do a lot. Just seeing you, whether you're on the phone, in the car, trying to help really deliver training to our people and then to companies in, you know, big time positions. So, you know, here at the STEM Files, right, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is not only highlighting and showcasing those who are in STEM throughout the diaspora, but specifically when we talk about not just ascending the ivory tower and making your own black tower and being proud of that and being a part of black business development. So that's really key. So today's topic is training STEM professionals for our community. Now, we know that's an aspect of what you do. So let's talk about, how you got into that aspect of global apprenticeship. What does that look like? And how do you see that growing in the near future?
So originally when we started with global apprenticeship, we focused on workforce development and the need. A lot of times, and you may be familiar with this, in our communities, they don't know the resources that are there for them.
Right.
And we end up contracting out with a lot of the workforce boards, the different counties, county governments, to ensure that the information that they have is reaching the people. And I'm not even just talking about the solar aspect. I'm talking about every aspect, from healthcare, HVAC, CDL driving, all these different programs. And most people don't know that if you are unemployed or underemployed, you can get paid, or they will actually pay for your schooling, your training. So you can go to your county and get trained for free. And so, as opposed to you trying to just go to college, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But if that's not your path and you don't see that as your path,
right,
then you have to do something else. And so most people just go out there and look for just whatever they can get, and there's no skill set there.
Right.
So what we focused on was ensuring that they know what their options are.
Right.
And if you don't know what your options are, you go to the go-to, and then the go-to may be in your mind from when you're younger. I just want to rap. I want to sing. I want to be famous. I want to play basketball. I want to do this. Those are the typical go-tos, because they look up to those individuals that are, that are famous,
right.
And then you have the other go-tos. Well, what can I do that, is in something that I like? I want to do hair. I want to do makeup. I want to do this, that, whatever. It's easy. It's something I can put my hands on and I can make money from it.
Right.
And it's great industries that you can get into. But then you got other people that might have grown up with a mindset of, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a nurse.
Right.
I want to do something else. But then in time, those things changed because of the environment.
Come on. Right.
So
right.
in order to try to get them back that spark, we asked the individuals, like, what is it that you wanted to do when you were younger? What did you like to do? What was your passion? And when you focus on a passion, then you take money off the table. You're focused on, what is it that I could do forever? And, I like to help people.
Right.
So I focus my passion around something that I can create a business out of.
Right.
So entrepreneurship is also one of the things that we do. We actually train entrepreneurs as well to create that, if they want to create a business for themselves. But ultimately, you have to have the skill in order to do so.
Right.
So we tie that in so we can bring that skill out. And that's how we started the process of getting into the arena of workforce development and the arena of solar. Those things came kind of after the fact. And so, but it all boiled down to what the needs were in the community, because people don't really know what their options are.
Sublime man at his finest, right? Talking about, growing up and having frustrated desires and not having the equipment, the access, the mentorship to feed that desire, to feed that dream, and then it dies out, right? So where you all kind of get in between that issue is, we are here to show you or let you know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then allow you to make an informed decision about your future in terms of gearing yourself up for not only the current fast moving industries, but industries that may not even have arrived yet, and retooling you in that regard. That's what's up. Tariq?
Yeah. Well, we're going to get back to global apprenticeship, but I want to talk about Rasool as a person. So what was it about this work that you do with global apprenticeship that made you say, okay, this is it, or not say this is it, but this is the type of work I want to do for my people? What got this started in your mind from the very beginning? So
from the very beginning, of course, I've always had a very strong connection with my people, period, across the board, the diaspora, as well as in our local communities. So, of course, as you know, I've traveled the world. I've been many places. And when I was younger, I got the opportunity to visit Cuba when I was in 2007. Don't ask how that happened. I was, I have my ways to get around,
Hey, come on.
but in 2007, I was in Cuba. I was actually living down there for a few weeks. I'm right about a month, and the focus at that time was going into healthcare. I was actually planning on becoming a doctor and going to the American School of Medicine. You know, as you all know, my older sister, she went there.
Right.
You know, but that was a dream of mine. Even, you know, prior to that, when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I want to go to the, you know, the Latin American School of Medicine because Castro's giving out these full rides and nobody knows about it.
Right.
I want to be that.
Facts.
So that was where I started. And then that ended up kind of changing up a little bit because I was making money in banking. So, you know, I got sidetracked. You know how that goes. You know, you're making money.
Right.
You good. You don't care.
Getting them bills paid.
Right.
But I was still traveling. So I was in Brazil. I was actually in the favelas, which are the slums of Brazil. If you all ever seen City of God, you know, and how they have those different areas where, you know, it's high crime rate, or, you know, the what they would call the gangsters or the hoodlums and whatnot. But at the end of the day, most of the people that they was like, oh, they were drug dealers, but they were protecting their communities.
Right.
They were literally, when you walk up in there, they just want to see, okay, who is this? Is this a cop? Is he trying to start some problems? And then they see you just coming to have fun, you good. And they leave you alone, you know? And so I was hanging out in the favelas, doing the parties and all that. But what I learned was that, you know, it's like, damn, there's so many people out here that needs help.
Right.
You know, you're talking about an impoverished area that doesn't have to be impoverished. And then when you go from chilling in the favelas, then you go down to Ipanema or Copacabana and you see all these nice properties and people living nice. You're like, well, dang, like this is how it is in the States, but worse, you know? And so as far as like something that's in your face, physically in your face, you could see the poverty. You know, sometimes we get, you know, so used to seeing, you know, the flash of just American streets, what we call dirty ain't dirty compared to over there.
Right.
You know, so when we see it firsthand over there, you're like, damn, we really don't know what poverty is, you know? And so it's like, well, what can we do to bring our people out of poverty? What can we do? And so the number one problem that people have is they are not able to get into a livable wage.
Come on.
And a livable wage is something that is a problem in every community across the world, around the world.
Sir.
And so with that being an issue, you got to put a lot of 2 + 2. You got to, okay, well, we know that this is the issue. How can we fix it? A lot of times, you know, we as Black people in general, we get caught up in the problem.
Right.
You know, we always talking about the problem, but not enough people are talking about the solution to the problem. How can we end this? How can we stop this? What can be done? And so you got the companies like, and you know, all love to them. You got, you know, Red Cross, you got, you know, Goodwill and other companies. At one point in time, there was not much being done besides, okay, well, we're going to give you this. We're going to provide this for you. You can give them clothes. We can do clothes all day. We can give them, you know, something. But if you don't teach them, then there's an issue.
Right.
Of course, Goodwill now has a program somewhat that they work on different things, just like others now, you know, what's the other one? The big one, Urban League, and other. They're doing more now.
That's
you know,
Urban
but
League.
the thing is, when you are far removed from the problem, you do what you're used to doing.
Go ahead.
You know,
That's
because you're far removed, you're good. You know, so I'm just working a job at this point. And we don't want to do that. Right. So we focus on what needs to be done and what do we see that can be done. So that's how I kind of got into it and got the passion for it, just being able to travel and see the poverty in these different countries that I visited, and then wanting to see a change and do something. Of course, before I can bring something here, I have to take it home first, you know, and so that's what we started at here in the U.S. and have expanded from then. And we've actually had been invited out. We've been invited to London. I've done talks in London, dealing with global apprenticeship and the apprenticeships in general, what can be done as far as solar. I went to Ghana, and before COVID hit, right before COVID, I was in Ghana, and then I actually had a meeting scheduled to meet with the Minister of Energy to discuss some things, and we didn't get a chance to meet due to COVID. So, but no problem. We'll get back to that. You know, I'm going back.
That's
I'm
right.
going back
That's
soon.
Right. I'm going with.
Sure.
I gotta do my second round.
Yeah. So the thing is to open the door, do what's necessary to get to the next level and bring our people up to the next level.
Right.
And so when they know, you empower them. When they're able to learn and see that there's something that we don't have to, you know, we don't have to do it ourselves, but we have someone there to help. a lot of our people are very discouraged, easily discouraged. And I'm talking from firsthand experience of working with youth, and we've provided them with something that no one has ever talked to them about or showed them, and they think it's too good to be true until it isn't.
Right.
Now it's, oh man, y'all really gonna do this for us? Yes, we're gonna help you do this. We're gonna show you how to do this. Ain't no more handouts. Handouts are done. It's about making sure that we have the proper tools that help you get that leg up.
Right.
It's not no pick up your own bootstraps either. Forget all that.
Right.
But it's
exactly
teach all.
That's right. Each one teach all. Everybody, listen, if you watching, if you listen,
don't be holding on to no information.
Come on now, each one teach all. And I'm not opposed to people charging for expertise, because I'm of the mindset when you take the time and you go through the trenches to learn a skill and to or a discipline, your knowledge base and your skill set is valuable. What I will say is that a lot of times we can get a bit incestuous and covetous when it comes to the things we've amassed and think that we're the author of what we've amassed. A lot of us are all with thoughts, and if we don't move out on them, they move. There's no such thing as an original thought. So you are moving out on the thoughts that you've been blessed with and benefiting the community. If I may, I want to really drill down on this as we move into the real STEM crux of what we're talking about. So as we move into the solar apprenticeships and aspects of the things you do with STEM, why is it important for not only our people to be properly trained to get jobs, but to be specifically trained in STEM disciplines to meet the needs of the current world and the future? Why is that so important?
That's an excellent question. Now, there are a lot of positions right now across the nation that are high demand, but the issue is that there's no one to fill them. You see, we have a lot of individuals, a lot of older individuals now that are retiring, and they're retiring from all types of positions, engineering, also, like I mentioned earlier, HVAC, plumbing. These are positions that are skills that if you don't have the skill to do it, then you have to hire somebody else, no matter how much they're charging.
That's right.
These are skills to where if your toilet break tomorrow and you don't know how to fix it, you got to call a plumber.
That's right.
What happens when we have no more plumbers because no one's studying? What happens when your system is broken down and no one is able to fix it? Right now you got a lot of high demand fields right now in cybersecurity. Now the military puts a lot of money behind cybersecurity because if there's a hack, there has to be people in place that know how to fix it, and someone that has a mentality that can think beyond what they've learned in college. Because most of the things, you're not going to learn all that in college. You're going to learn that in the field.
That's right.
You're going to learn that hands on. So you take something like cybersecurity or big data. I'm talking about, you're talking about science, big data, CompTIA, TIA, all of those things that they have out there right now. Somebody can learn these things without going to cloud engineering, all this, without even going to college.
Right.
But why can't you do this as an apprentice? Now, for those who don't know what an apprenticeship is, so an apprenticeship is an opportunity for you to earn while you learn. So you're able to work, most likely, most of the time, a full-time schedule in a particular field while you're also training and doing a course. So you got your hands-on training, which is your practical, and then you got your practical in class, and then you got your application that you're applying in the field. So this is a way that we used to learn. Before the college universities, doctors were trained hands-on as an apprentice. All the doctors that you heard about back in the day that did all these amazing things. We just got out of Black History Month. You got Charles Drew. He was an apprentice at one point in time. You got Lewis Latimer. He was an apprentice of someone.
Vivian Thomas. Yep.
Exactly. So these are the things that we have been pulled away from, and it boils down to one thing: money. The universities want to make money. So what do? They put us in school, and then your undergraduate focuses on everything you learned when you were still in high school. of course, you're still going to have to grow in your mathematics and your sciences. But you talking about English? I've been learning English since I was born.
Right.
I got to take English.
Them electives.
Yeah.
We can go from 4 years to 2 years.
Exactly.
You out of there.
I got to keep learning more English, and it's the same thing over and over again. I got to keep learning about American history. That and I love me some world history, but American history, I can't stand.
That's crazy. That's weird because I like American better than world, but that's another topic. Go ahead.
Look, but real talk though, I love history in general, but I love to read between those lines. But American history used to just irk my nerves back when I was in high school because it was always the same stuff over and over again. They give you a curriculum that they want you to have, and then that's what they stick to, So that's what it's all about. You pay all this money for these 4 years to learn the same thing that you already know, and then you get a little bit of time to study what your career path is supposed to be.
Right.
But if you're not going into a professional field, and when I say professional, I'm talking about doctors, lawyers, and certain fields where you have to go to college in order to do it, then when you get out of college, what happens? You can't find a job.
Come on.
You can't find a just over broke.
Mm-hmm.
You find you something, on the side to just get by,
right.
Or you get you an entry level position, but that entry level position, you could have did that position, without that college degree.
Right.
They might have hit you with we can't pay you this much to start with, but we can start you with something.
Right.
But then you work that position and then you get that experience, and then that experience takes you further than that degree takes you. Sad to say, it's like that. True. But then what happens? If you took that path, then usually when you're talking about big corporations, they will pay for you to go back to school. When I was working at the bank, I was in school and working at the bank. I, brief history about myself. I literally paid for school myself dang near throughout the whole thing. I did do a few student loans, but I was paying out of pocket. I did do some, what is this? Financial aid, grants and all that. I did some of that, but mostly I was working. I worked the whole time because I wanted to have money in my pocket so I could take care of myself and do what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I was, but guess what? Wells Fargo, Wachovia at the time, and Wells Fargo, they paid to take you back to school. It's called, they call it tuition reimbursement, where they would literally pay for you to get the education. Who else does it? A lot of companies do it. And I worked at Social Security Administration for a while for the federal government, and they paid for you to go to school. So if you didn't have a degree and you worked in these fields entry level, then they would pay you more and they would pay for your course for you. So now you have the skill from what you learned hands-on, and now you got the degree that you didn't have to pay for because they paid for it. Just as an example of other ways to get around just going to college and paying to start, because that's what they pump to us. And then what happens? We end up in debt because now most colleges, if you're going out of state, you're talking about big money. Right. You're talking about $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 in debt. When you get done. Most of it's 100,000 and above for most people, just off of debt that you got to try to fix and cover when you get back. And if you're not in a career field that's a professional career like an engineer, then guess what? You got to try to find a job that's going to pay that.
Where you fit it. That's right. Yes, sir.
So there are other options, and apprenticeships is one that is an excellent option for us all in all different fields. And so global apprenticeship, the goal of global apprenticeship, which we're not even doing, we're on the mission. I'll put it like that. Our mission is clear. We're serving the underserved. That's our mission. And then the goal is to ultimately hold and house all apprenticeships within global apprenticeship throughout the world. So we were already in talks with, of course, we're going to get back to the solar part. We already in talks. Yeah, so we got the solar pumping, but we're already in talks with different companies dealing with the HVAC, that want to do the HVAC training and do it under us. We have another training that we're looking at as well, electrical, which is one that is along the career path for solar anyway. So solar installation, then into electrical apprenticeship. These are things that can all be housed under global apprenticeship for those who want this career path. Then the last thing I'll say about that is that once you've gotten that career path, once you've completed that apprenticeship, you've gained the knowledge you need. And then as you grow in knowledge in the field working, you can then set up a business for yourself as an entrepreneur in that field.
Come on.
Now you're talking about creating your own funds.
From employee to entrepreneur.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of the way we work, Project Outsource Connects and Global Apprenticeship, we want to help you as an entrepreneur to navigate through and become a contractor yourself, and even get large.
Right.
You're talking about $1 million contracts out there for companies that are subcontractors and GCs, which is general contractors. Millions of dollars that can be made off of these fields that most people don't even think about, because they're looking down at them like, I don't want to be a plumber. Come on. You see a plumber in your mind, you seeing a dude with his ass, or can I cuss? I'm sorry. All right, got it.
Bad, bro.
So we got his foot hanging out, you know, he bent all over under the sink, you know, and that's what some fat, you know, Dunlap over his stomach hanging. That's what people see when they think of, you know, plumbers.
But plumbing is piping, which people don't understand.
Exactly.
You got plumbers who will be contracted to install and oversee the piping in a skyscraper.
Yes.
Right. Not necessarily just getting into the dirty job, which is an aspect of plumbing, which is why I went to college, right? Mm-hmm. But I've always been also told people that, like you're saying, you have to be very surgical and clear, precise about your path. What do you want to do? A lot of times these trades give you skill sets that no one can take from you, and you can make big money, because people are going to always live in places where they need their home rewired, electrical issues corrected, plumbing issues corrected, you know, masonry, all these types of things, which undergird the very foundation of the physical world around us. So we have to be educated and let people know these are not only cool things to do, but they're needed.
Exactly. And you hit it on the head. And then two things on that, I'm gonna get off of it. You mentioned masonry. In Tuskegee, they literally made bricks, and the best bricks. Yes, you know, so you're talking about Tuskegee being contracted out to purchase the bricks that's made. That's brick masonry. Yep. You know, and then as a contractor, once you graduated from your where you were as far as your experience wise, and you go on to become a contractor yourself, you are not the one that's sitting there doing all the work. Right. You are the one managing teams that are on the road making $1 million contracts. Right. Whoever that needs your services. So you're just managing what's happening. Once you've gotten that skill, you know what's happening. You get the right people in place. And see, that's why Global Apprenticeship and Project Outsource Connects works so hard to focus on entrepreneurship, because we share with the individual how you can do that. We don't just leave you there and say, okay, you got it now. Go out into the world, into the wilderness, and fend for yourself. Right. That's done. Those days are over with. It's no more that, oh, well, I got mine, you got to get yours. No, sir. You know, we ain't going to be able to roll like that. That's right. You know, Rasool Muhammad told us that our unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb. Come on. So that means that we work together, and we're not too busy trying to backstab each other or worry about if somebody's going to backstab us, because that's another problem. You know, you putting things into the atmosphere that's not even there. Come on. You know, but when you focus and you got people that got your back and have the resources to tie you into the right people, now you're talking about getting tied into organizations, associations, and get your thing off the ground as a subcontractor and then a general contractor. That's growth, you know? So all these things and more. I'll pause there. I'm gonna turn it back over to y'all.
Yo, that's that's incredible. And you know what? I want to we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get back to the show. And we got some questions from the audience. That sound good?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. A promo, of course, for us real quick. If you're watching the STEM Files and you love the content you're seeing, you're loving what you hear, definitely follow us on all our social media platforms, at Tariq Cardiac and at Brilliant Engineer. At the STEM Files on Instagram and Twitter, the STEM Files on Facebook and YouTube, and our STEM Files TikTok is coming soon, where you're gonna see Jabril dancing and whatnot. You gotta get through this thing, you know. So I'm damn sure not gonna be dancing, but Jabril is definitely gonna be killing it on TikTok. So definitely look out for that. Right now, we're gonna play a clip, family, from the Final Call newspaper, and then we're gonna talk to you about this week's issue. Check it out.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, my brother. And can you please tell us what this week's issue of the Final Call is about?
Yes, sir. Of course, family. We are back talking about that one and only, the baddest newspaper on the planet, the Final Call newspaper.
That's right.
A message dedicated to the resurrection of the black man and woman in America and the world. Literally says that in the inside front page. If you read your paper, you would know the anatomy of your paper. All the
Come on.
and stay tapped in. This is the beginning of sorrows. Bloody war in Europe brings death, 1 million refugees, and opens the door for wider global destruction. If you've been living under a rock, it's the only way you would not know about the current war between the Ukraine and Russia. All I'm going to say about that is not only read your Final Call newspaper, but don't be someone on the sidelines in this current time. There is no sidelines. I'm not telling anybody to go to war. What I'm saying is understand what this not only means for over there, but means right here in the United States. We see and understand that gas prices are rising. We see and understand that global power is shifting from the different bans on Russia and everything. How is this going to impact science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? As we look at these gas prices, how does that impact electric vehicles, right? Because the more expensive things get, what about the segue or the pivoting from less conventional natural resources to now more renewable energy-based transportation and other things, which gets us into the solar aspect, what we're going to talk about. So family, get your Final Call newspaper. Go to finalcalldigital.com to get your digital edition. Also, if you are in the Atlanta, Richmond, or Philadelphia area, want to tap into your brother, get your physical edition. Make sure you tap in with myself, your brother Rasool, or brother Tariq, if you're in Richmond, to get your Final Call newspaper, family. Stay tapped in.
Absolutely.
Yes. Soldiers.
That's right. At all times.
First and foremost, let's go. All right, family. So we got a question from the audience, and it's crazy because I was literally about to ask this question, and then it popped up. So we got a question from audience member Salima Shabazz. She said, can you name some skills for mid to upper age females could get into, or a growing industry for that age group? Now, I'm glad she asked this question because we have a lot of people from our more seasoned community or our older community who feel that it's too late to get into some type of trade, some type of profession, or anything along those lines. So can we talk about how important it is about it being not too late, and also talk about some of the skills that our older community can get into?
Bruh. All right, well, just off that, the first thing that popped in my head when you said that was, is it too late?
Go ahead.
Well, in this instance, it's not too late. No, it's not.
Right.
It's not too late. Yes, there are different industries that I would highly recommend. And for you, I would recommend claims adjuster. A claims adjuster is a great position to get into. That's something that after you've learned that skill set, you can, go and work for a company, get what you need. And then you can, in turn, after you've gotten it down, you can potentially even go into business for yourself. Or you can just be sent out to adjust claims whenever there is a natural disaster after it's over. And this is an industry where after you've gotten your system down, there are people out there making like over $100,000 in a matter of a few months, just off of adjusting claims back to back during like different natural disasters. As an example, you have a hurricane that hits, the aftermath, you have these houses that have damage. So you have a claims adjuster that literally goes from house to house, adjust the claims, see, okay, well, this looks like this amount of damage. And of course, they teach you how to adjust these claims to determine what's what. But you say, okay, I see this amount of damage. You put that stamp on it of your approval of how much that's going to cost. Then you move on to the next house. And you do that constantly, over and over, night and day, for that time period that you're out there. While you're out there, depending on who you're working for, typically you're working really for FEMA at that point, because they're the ones that need people to come out to do this. And if you have that skill and that certification, then you're paid by them. Right. They pay you per diem, meaning that you don't even have to pay for where you stand.
That's right.
And you don't have to pay for your food. They
take
care of all
per diem.
Oh, that per diem goes long.
Yes, sir.
That per diem. Oh man, that's some good money right there, because you're not tapping into what they're paying you.
Right.
So all you're doing is stacking your bread.
That's right.
And that's how you end up doing that. You're stacking your bread, you're making money, and you're not using what you're stacking because your per diem gets you through each day.
Yep.
You know, most people are, you know, if you're doing like let's say an admin job or you're working at the bank, you might be making $80 to $100 a day, you know, for those 8 hours that you're working in a regular, you know, and this is like, I'm talking about like, you know, entry level, you know, that's what you're making. Most people that travel on the road, and I'm talking about now from, you know, those working in FEMA to those working in the different arenas, like in these different industries, they're making about $100 to $120, $125 a day in per diem alone, you know, not including overtime, and they get it, you know, not including their regular salary, and they get it. So that's one that it's not, you know, any really major strenuous work. You just have to be willing and ready to get out there and travel and do what you need to do. That's just one field. You know, you could go into healthcare. You can go into surgical tech, you know, which Khalifa, she did surgical tech.
Yes, sir.
That's why he's using that word surgical all the time now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's a beautiful adjective.
Yes.
Sir.
Surgical tech is definitely one to get into. If you like science, if you're big in technology, you can get into big data or CompTIA, and CompTIA. How do I say that right? Is it CompTIA or CompTIA or both?
I gotta look at it because I'm like, as you're saying it, it's not ringing a bell. And every time he says it, what is he trying to say? I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
So basically, anything black belt, you know.
Six Sigma,
Oracle,
and
Six Sigma,
and things like that.
Yeah, those are different courses that you can get into and learn.
Yep.
There are back a few years back now, before COVID, a while back now. Wow. Now think about it, like 2017, 2018, we were working with a company to push them. They wanted to actually create an apprenticeship for technology, you know, for these type courses, and they did. And I'm hoping they're doing well right now. But yeah, so there are things out there that we can be doing, whether it's under an apprenticeship or literally just doing it as a course. But you're talking about, this is not you got to go to school 4 years to do this. You know, you go to school, it can be anywhere from 4 weeks up to a year, 2 years at the most, depending on what it is. Surgical tech, I can't remember. I think it was like 18 months for surgical tech. You know, there we go. Contractor call. All right. Yep. CompTIA. Exactly.
Yep.
That's
I tried to call it
CTUIA.
Go ahead.
Shout out to C Tucker. Now this right here, C Tucker.
Appreciate that, brother.
That's my bro.
Okay, C Tucker. Thank you for tapping in, beloved.
That's Chris Tucker right there.
Okay.
Christopher Tucker. He is literally my go-to for travel. That's my go-to for travel. Anytime I'm traveling overseas, I hit up Chris Tucker.
We need to get with him. We need to get with him.
When I'm all in Thailand and whatnot, living my life, my best life. C Tucker's the one that booked that. You know, and he the man. Okay. So right now, Chris, matter of fact, go ahead and type your company on the in the chat box. So
go ahead, get your plug on. Get your plug.
Because when I say amazing rates, and when I say the experiences and the level of expertise that he put into travel, I go to him every time. That's what's up. I ain't had nobody do it better, and I've been traveling for a while.
Come on now, Black Business Highlight.
Black Business Highlight.
We do it all.
Matter of fact, that's gonna be one of the highlights that we do on here. So go ahead, give all the info.
Tucker Premium Travel. He's newly married.
Okay.
You know,
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Now, you know, which I always say newly married, but I forget that we literally had 2 years of COVID.
Right.
Okay, so
can you believe that already?
Yeah,
already.
Really. So yeah, so those are just some of the positions you can do those. For instance, sis, I mentioned the claims adjuster. I gotta put it in there. R.S. Thomas Training and Associates, another Black business. I highlight Black businesses all day. So there's a lot of them out there, and we work with them, and we work with the best. We don't deal with companies that you fly by night. No, we don't deal with that. See that, Tucker Premium Travel Services.
Yes,
we deal with people that's gonna take care of you.
Come on now.
So R.S. Thomas Training and Associates, they are a company that's been in business now for over 30 years, and they are really the top adjustment training and insurance training in the nation. The top in the nation, and they're located in Atlanta, Georgia. They have online training as well, so they train throughout the nation as well. And they're the ones that you can do that claims adjustment training with. If you want that information, just contact me later. I can get it to you so you can get in tied in with them, so you can get that training.
Sounds good. Definitely will.
Now let's get into what I've been really meaning to ask you about this one, because you know, talk about the present, the future, renewable energy. It's, you know, these different what's the word I'm looking for? Just different, you know, terms that like get people talking and having conversation, and renewable energy is one of them. So the solar apprenticeship program that you have, where did it start? You know, generally speaking, how does it work, and what are your, you know, goals for this solar apprenticeship program?
Okay, excellent question. Look at the school. Ooh,
you going in. You going in.
All right. So the solar installation apprenticeship, you know, we saw a need for solar a long time ago, and we always do the solar was something that we needed to grasp. Prior to me getting into solar, when I did a presentation over in, where was I? I was in London. I was at Windsor, at the Windsor Castle. It was a conference, and I was invited to speak. And while I was there, you know, I talked about solar, and there was a guy who has a solar company out of Canada, and they established solar farms. And so we started discussing, you know, about, you know, how we can establish more solar farms in the U.S. on people's land, you know, on the land that they currently have that they're not using, you know, as long as it's flat, as long as it's somewhat close to, you know, a grid, they could, you know, link it up and then, you know, make the solar farm. And they were actually paying people for land leases to lease their land so they can sell that energy back to the government. So we had talked, you had some talks or whatever, but then COVID hit and that killed all that, you know, but it sparked a thought then, solar is good. And then I connected with my partner, Chris White. Chris White, he couldn't be here tonight. He's with his family, but Chris White, I've been working with him for a long time. He actually used to work with me at the bank. Okay. You know, and so we connected with our late brother, man, I'll be pleased with him, Brother Roosevelt, invited me out to the fatherhood program. And so while there, I ran into Chris, and he was talking about solar farms, and he works for, at the time he worked for a solar company, a large solar company. And so he came to me and was like, look, you know, we need to do this. We need to create a solar. I want to create, you know, a solar apprenticeship. And I told him that the only thing we need is the curriculum. I said, I'll set it all up, because that's what I do. Is like I set up training schools, which I didn't mention that. I do that too. I set up training schools, and so all the ins and outs of workforce I deal with. And so I told him, like, look, man, I've been talking about solar for a while. You obviously know solar. Let's do it together. You know, so instant partnership. So immediately I told him what I needed. And this was in 2020. This is at the height of COVID. 2020. I just got back from Ghana. And I was at Savior's Day when he called me about it. I was at Savior's Day. He called me and I said, okay, let's make it happen. And so he sent me the information and I saw it. I was like, okay, this curriculum, we can work with this. And so I jumped on it immediately. Started setting up, doing everything I needed to do to get that apprenticeship approved. And so surprisingly, all throughout 2020, that's what I was working on. And I believe midway there, like June 2020, it got approved. Surprisingly quicker than ever, because I've been working with different companies and it usually takes longer, you know. But when the last guy, man, he working with us, we trying to make this thing happen. Okay, I see you solar on the roof. All right.
Let's get to it.
So we created the company. Global Apprenticeship Foundation was already in place. I set that up already. I knew it was coming, you know, and so everything I did was already lined up and prepared for 2020 when that hit. So once we had the approvals, then the next step was to get with the workforce boards and get approved through them. I already had the relationships with workforce boards with what we were doing with Project Outsource Connects. You know, we have been working with the workforce boards for a long time, and Global Apprenticeship, but mostly like the hands-on aspect of Project Outsource Connects dealt with the workforce boards directly. So I worked in with them, let them know what we were doing, set that up. So now we covered. I had everything in place. All we needed to do at this point was to go ahead and start getting students. And so in January 2021, we got our first set of students, you know, and so.
Yes, sir.
And so, you know, my goal is to ensure that every person that wants to learn can learn solar. and how to install solar panels. Because ultimately, if we're talking about, and everyone's talking about buying land and we own land, how are we going to service our property? How are we going to actually have the energy if we're going to be off the grid?
Come on.
We have to be able to establish that power.
That's right.
We have to set it up. So what better way to do it than have an apprenticeship that can train you on how to install solar panels? We deal with commercial and residential. Our partners, we have partners across the board in both in different areas throughout the nation at this point. And our focus right now is expansion.
Yes,
so within a matter of a year, we had several students in our program. And once again, these students are going without having to pay out of pocket. They're literally going through workforce development. In Georgia, it's called WorkSource Georgia. Every county has it, and a lot of them are tied to different regional commissions, but there's funding there for those, as I said before, who are unemployed. So COVID hit, nobody was working.
Right.
What happens? You try to find work. Well,
Right.
If you're not working, guess what? You can go right down to your WorkSource board. Everything's online now, and get tied in to get the funding for your course, and so our apprenticeship focuses on that. Now, one thing that's different from most training schools is that the training schools, you have to go get trained up first and then go to work or hope that you can get into employment. The way we work is different. We focus on getting you approved and then getting you what you need so you can start working right away. Most of our people have started working within a matter of 2 weeks. 2 weeks from them getting their approval from our WorkSource to get their funding. That first week, we focus on their OSHA 10 because we want to make sure they're safe.
That's right.
Everybody's harnessed in if they're on the roof. They're harnessed in. But we still want to make sure that you know what you're doing. So OSHA 10 is first off the rip.
It's a safety standard for those who don't know.
Period.
OSHA 10
OSHA 10 safety. After they got in that OSHA 10 safety, then we place them into the actual field where they're getting that work, and they're working 40-hour week schedules. The biggest thing is you gotta have a car. You gotta get there.
That's right.
Because when you're dealing with residential, especially, you're traveling all over. So you may be at one house in one area for, a few days until that job is done, and you got to go to the next job. So you got to understand that travel is going to be a part of your work.
That's right.
If you are working in solar fields, you're talking about going out into the country. In Georgia, there are solar fields that's far out, So if you're in the field, you got to work that, or you're going to be sent even further where you're on the road. On the road, work is good though, because what happened? You get that per diem.
That's right.
So if you're on the road, you get per diem. If you're traveling out into different states, and there is work like that, and it's a high field. So right now, with us expanding the way we are, our main focus is to continue with that expansion. So Georgia is good. Where our focus now is South Carolina, North Carolina, and Mississippi. We've already been approved to train in all three. So yes.
Excellent.
All praises to Allah.
That's right.
So we now are able officially to train, and we'll be putting out information in those different areas to expand and actually take on apprentices there. We already have the positions lined up. These are high demand fields and positions that are ready to go, but we got to just make sure we have the people that are willing and ready to work. After we start, or we get that flowing, which I estimate that we'll get that going within the next month in these different areas. The next stop is DC area, Pittsburgh, all the areas in the Midwest there,
Philly.
and then Philly. Can't forget. And then we're going up to Michigan. You can't forget Michigan. So Detroit is another area that we'll be hitting next.
Now, don't think you're just gonna skip over, go to North Carolina and skip over Virginia to go to DC. That's not happening. I done drove past several solar farms on the road going up to DC, back and forth to DC. So we ain't having none of that. So you definitely gonna come in the DMV area as much as possible. But I gotta ask you a question just about the overall system of things. So if somebody in Georgia just out of nowhere wants to do solar work, can they just come straight to you, or do they have to go to that particular organization or structure in Georgia, or can they just how does that work?
We advise everyone to come to us first. Come to us, because at the end of the day, we pretty much, we're gonna hold your hand through the process. We're gonna stay on you. A lot of times, and this is nothing against the system itself, but most people, they working, they're just doing their regular schedule. Right. They have other things they have to do during that schedule, so they're not thinking about you as an individual that's coming to them because they have 20 other people, 30 other people, 100 other people coming to them with the same issue. But when you come to us, we are focused on the need. So if you're saying, look, we want to work, we need this, we have this need, we don't have anything, we're interested in your program, then we're going to tell you exactly what you need to do to be successful to get through the process at Workforce. We've streamlined processes, and that's as a backstory with Project Outsource Connects. We were dealing with Project Outsource Connects on a regular basis with the workforce boards. We held the hands of a lot of individuals, and we helped increase the numbers of all the workforce boards throughout Georgia that we were working with because of the passion that we had to see our people successful. So when you have a passion, it's no longer just a job. When it's just a job, you're like, oh, well, I got this. I'm just making this money. I'm worried about my check, not to say that that's all that they're doing, but at the end of the day, they still have a system that they have to follow. We are outside of the system. And so because we're outside of the system, we work how we need to work. I see a need. Let's make it happen. So originally, Global Apprenticeship was down in the trenches. We was in the hood. That's was down door to door knocking. We went out to, I don't know if y'all from Atlanta, but Rolling Benz community. We went down into the Rolling Benz community, man, and we was there on the day where they came to get their, like their food or whatever, or their tax breaks, because most of the people out there were living on Section 8 or not even Section 8. They were living on straight up welfare. They weren't working at all, and they just come and get their check or their gifts or whatever that people were providing for them, and they would come out on that day. So we come down and we would share with them what it is that they could do. So we would get gathering all this information and bringing it back to the workforce boards to tell them, look, these are all the people in this area that needs your assistance and needs your help. We weren't getting paid to do that. We were doing that for free. Right. A lot of what we do is for free. We did it out of the love, out of the need. And so because of that, we were able to build systems up around it to now be able to actually fund what we do through either the workforce boards, through our contracts that we have with them, and also with the apprenticeship through the apprenticeship, the individuals that come through and get the funding. Once again, we send them to the workforce and then they get funded. The workforce pays us for their time.
Mm. Wow. So I'm gonna ask a few questions from the audience. And how comfortable are you answering questions about how solar panels work?
I'm comfortable enough. Look, okay. And let me give my disclaimer. See, I'm the businessman here. I'm the business extraordinaire. So Mr. International travels and he knows business. As far as the full solar breakdown, that's my partner, Chris White. You couldn't be here tonight. But no worries, we can get them back on. We can get them back on the show.
We'll have part two.
But I am comfortable enough to answer questions. What's your question?
All right, cool. So this is from the Black Math Academy. How efficient is solar energy versus other means like electric, wind, nuclear?
That's a good question. So nuclear energy really gets a bad rap. There's nuclear. There's so much you can do with nuclear energy, but because of the warmongers, everyone focuses on nuclear weapons.
Right. And you can have very clean nuclear energy.
Very clean nuclear energy. It gets a bad rap. The crazy thing was when Iran was developing their nuclear capability to create nuclear clean energy, they were, they came after them. I don't know if they bombed them or they just came up and told them they had to shut it all down. It was one or the other. But either way, America wasn't having it. They were like, nah, you can't have no capabilities. Forget that. But it's clean energy. So off nuclear, electrical energy, solar electrical is really a great form of energy. And it's one that's, it's not a big footprint, I don't believe. And I can't really compare it to wind and whatnot. I don't really know much about wind energy. I'm learning though. I literally had a conversation with somebody maybe 3 weeks ago that was discussing wind energy and how we can work on some things. So when I learn it, I come back to you on that.
Yes, sir.
So the solar is very great energy source. You're talking about the wattage. It all focuses on the megawatts, it's something that you can literally go from powering just your house to powering a whole neighborhood. Now, how that works, the focus of that is really making sure that you have the proper battery storage. If you don't have the proper battery storage, then you're not going to get as much, And so when you're dealing with DC power, you're dealing with battery storage. A lot of times you'll hear most people that they'll tell you, if they work in the solar arena, they'll tell you it's better to have a field or something off your house. It's better to have something on the ground. The reason why is because you can put more panels on the ground. You can store more energy if you have that and you have your battery. Your house is limited, but it's still good. You're powering a lot, but if you got it on the ground, you got more units, you got more to work with.
Mm-hmm. I would also add, we've had discussions on the show about solar in the past. The biggest concerns, or rather concerns, or things you have to think about is your level or ability to absorb, convert, and store, right? And I believe I was having conversations at one point about a high percentage in terms of the conversion rate being about 15% for a lot of these solar panels. And there have been discussions in the scientific community about studying melanin as a additive for solar panels because of the heat and thermal conductivity nature of melanin. So what becomes interesting when you talk about the spatial awareness aspect of where you put your solar panel, right, is, okay, if I'm on the ground versus on my home, a lot of the home roofs are going to be tilted. So you're going to have to arrange it in a way where you're getting a good positioning as it pertains to the rise and then setting of the sun. But if you're on the ground, what you're going to do is you're going to be here and you're going to have that whole day to be able to get more or less the highest amount of time where that solar energy is being absorbed. So there's a number of things to consider based on solar. And I think that one thing that people don't understand, in addition to not only solar as a science, but solar as a industry for business, to create business for yourself. A lot of times, if you have solar panels on your home or own them and talk to your local energy company, they will pay you for your excess energy at the end of the year. So if you have and you collect solar all year and you have a certain amount excess based off what you need, you can sell that back to the grid. Exactly. They will pay you. They will pay you for that if that's something you can do. So we're, again, here at the STEM Files, right? We're not just talking science. We are brothers who desire to build a nation, to have a separate land and territory of our own, where we can do things and not have to worry about, kowtowing and being someone in one sphere of influence. When we talk to other people, we got a code switch, right? We're trying to create our own table where we have better bread, better pies, and we can live having each other. So, it's one thing to engage and be a doctor. Great. Oh, I'm a doctor. Great. Who are you a doctor for? Right. And do you have the sense of character in mind to understand the value in recreating doctors who are for the culture and for your people? Now, it's not just because a lot of times we're honest with ourselves. A lot of people go for engineering and health related industry because they pay a lot. Yeah. So we're in a world where with the number one thing that drives what you engage in for your career is how much money I can make versus how I can not only affect change personally, but familiarly and in my city, county, region, and world. So that's what we're talking about here in the STEM Files. We're helping to arm people with a knowledge and a skill set to do something for self, lest they suffer the consequences.
Real talk. And I'm even add to that because I was two things you mentioned. I was like, yes, you mentioned the selling your power back, right? Selling your power back to the grid. That is a major thing. You can do that either whether you have a ground mount or a roof mount. You can still do that, and it goes back to that battery. Your reserve power is what's gonna really help you do that. If your battery is weak and cheap, it ain't gonna work. That's right. The battery is usually the most expensive thing, but those batteries are the ones that when you have, let's say, when your power, let's say when if the grid goes down, if that grid goes down, that's when you're gonna have those generators kick in. You know, with these hospitals, there are a lot of hospitals that are ran off that backup power that is stored in those batteries. So it's very important. And then as far as the direction that they have to be facing, south facing is what you want. You want any home. If your home is south facing, that means you're getting solar energy all day. You're getting sunlight all day in that area, and that's how it needs to face in order to get the most bang for your buck, if you will. And then I will add, the solar industry is constantly evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like how TVs, you know, used to have a big back, you know, the big old back on the TV.
Right.
That's real, you know, and so everything is obsolete. Those TVs used to be very expensive. Now, you know, them TVs, you can't get nothing for them TVs.
Right.
You know? Barely a dollar. Exactly. And so flat screens, what we knew from flat screens that used to be flat screens,
Right.
they outdated.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing with solar. The panels that you are used to, those panels are becoming more obsolete every day. Tesla has a panel. That panel is so nice. Now basically they have a full solar roof where they can replace your roof, your entire roof, with solar
with
panels.
nothing but solar. Yeah.
And it looks like an actual roof. It looks like it's solar shingles basically, and they're large. They're wide solar shingles, and they look like it's all within the actual the shingle itself. But it's called PV, solar PV, or photovoltaic, and it actually that's what absorbs that solar. You know,
the transformation. Remember, energy is not created nor destroyed, only transformed and transferred. So you go from solar to literal electric energy, photovoltaic combination.
And when you install it, what you're doing is you're actually you install it in, and then it's converted from DC energy into the energy that it can actually energize your house without tearing up everything, you know, without tearing anything up. But yes, it's very necessary. And did you know, fun fact, crystals, you know, a lot of people don't know, but you know, crystals store is storage. It's storage like a memory card, and it's storage of energy. You know, and I always thought that was really cool. Some people know about it, and everybody's studying energy nowadays, but like
Mother Tanetta taught on that.
You know, because of what they can do. They literally store like a lot of those. Yeah, Mother Tanetta, she talked about the crystal skulls, and those crystal skulls actually house actual data inside of those skulls and even other crystals. That's why you see a lot of quartz used even in watches. Nobody even understands why it's quartz. It keeps it running, you know. And so yeah, I digress.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. And I had a conversation with Khalifa about this. When you get into the spiritual people who I use crystals and everything, we don't really understand what crystals are really for, and why things like burning sage or this and the third, you know, has a impact on you. Where you say spirit, someone else might say energy. Where you say, you know, cleanse my surroundings, someone else might say literally change the ionic charge around me. That's what that means from a scientific perspective. So a lot of time when you have a conversation with your quote unquote, if you want to call them hoteps or members of the conscious community in your family or friends, you know, really listen to what they say. You know, a lot of it is not fake or quote unquote just out there, but they're explaining it in a way that makes them feel good, but it's not necessarily the best for the situation and who they're talking to. So that's why having a firm grasp of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, not only in a discipline, but in the language, adding it to your lexicon is important, because you can literally better engage with and relate to your surroundings. So you should always be studying, and literally math is the #1 language in the world.
That's right.
Right?
Islam.
That's how everybody. Come on, Black Math Academy. Where you at?
Where
you at? Yes, sir. Raise you to a lot. But back to you, bro. You know, I get to taking everything. Oh, it's 9:04.
Oh no, Justin, believe I was about to reel it in, so you good.
What? That's
but nah. I'm enjoying this. Like I want to actually do a part 2 before the month is up, because we got the 31st spot is open.
Oh yeah, Chris. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
we'll get Chris
for sure. But we got a part of the show that we like to call a social media tap-in. And that's pretty much you just going into a picture that we picked from your social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, and you kind of tell us what's going on in that picture. That sound all right?
Of course. Yeah.
All right, dope. Let's check it out.
What you got? I got a lot of pictures.
Yes, you do. About to bring it up.
A whole bunch of them. I ain't even posted all
Bro,
of
you
them.
got that? Oh no, I got it. All right, so what's going on in this?
Oh man. Okay, so this is in Africa. This is in Ghana. And so I visited a friend of mine who's in Ghana. You see the young lady in yellow. And she has a program that she works with in Ghana. Her name is Nana. And so she actually works with the Ghanaian youth. And they have a program, as you can see, they have their hats on. It's a welding program. They do welding. They do, hold on, let me just pull it up. Let me see. I want to go to her page because I'm not doing justice to this photo. Y'all should have gave me a heads up about this. So
we like to keep it candid. We don't tell nobody. We like to keep it candid. You just tell us what it is.
So I'm going to go. I got to go to it.
Take your time. Take your time.
Yeah. See, because I got
nobody can see you, bro. You good?
You good, bro.
Man, y'all just caught me all off guard. Okay. Here we go. So this is Nana Julius Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has a program that she works with. God, what's the name of it? I'm looking for the name of it. I don't like to. Oh my goodness. This is in East Legon, Ghana.
Okay.
And they received funding to ensure that individuals are able to work in STEM. You know, y'all can't see this, but this is the whole layout.
Okay.
You know, it's beautiful. And
Nice.
I wanted to just check it out. I wanted to see it.
Right.
You know, while I was out there. And they built the library. They built the area for them to work on different art pieces, artistic pieces. You see them in their hard hats because they were literally welding different pieces. I wish I could put this on the screen. It's beautiful, you know. But maybe next go around we can actually prepare for that, and I can share more about it. And even y'all.
Well, I'll tell you what, Russell, if you want, you can send it to me and I can put it up real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram.
Okay.
Right now. Oh shit, her page is private.
We'll work it out. We'll work it out.
DTIA Africa. That's what you go. DTI Africa. That's what it is. DTIAfrica.com. DTIAfrica.com. And so it's Design and Technology Institute. And it's a beautiful area. They literally built it out. They took shipping crates, which is the wave of the future.
Come on now.
Shipping crates.
Yes.
And they built them out to house everything that they needed, from the libraries, the areas for the computer labs. They got their offices. They got the areas for the individuals to come in and create. They created chairs out of the rubber tires, the leftover tires. I got pictures of it all, you know, somewhere. But they got chairs out of that they created, and then they got a lot of different artwork pieces that they made all throughout this compound. And it's almost like an oasis in the desert. When you go into, like I said, when you go to Africa, when you go to Ghana, it's beautiful in the cities, but when you go out into the countryside, or not even the countryside, really, it's still in the city, you're going to see a lot of dirt roads. It's a lot of dirt roads. So when you're driving down and then you see this little gate, and then you open the gate up, and then you literally walk into all this beautiful green space that you're like, where did this come from? It just wasn't outside.
Right.
So yeah, it's laid out. It's beautiful. So, and they are helping a lot of individuals. These are all their students that are on this picture right here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So shout out to Nana Jewel S. Thompson. She's out there right now doing big things.
Make sure I follow her.
Yes, follow Jewel.
All right, cool.
Any other questions?
All right, family. We want to take some time to do a small Black business highlight. I had a video prepared, and it's in regards to Hereafter Farms, the particular company and brand that our brother Farrakhan Ali and brother Ben Nix have put together, that all three of us actually are working together with them on a few projects. So check out the video.
Life isn't my finite body living forever. It's about the infinite or infinite wisdom, the mind that's going to live forever. So our great leaders from the past, Malcolm, Marcus Garvey, any of those great ones from the past who have so-called past, the Quran says, speak not of those who are slain in the way of Allah as dead. No, they are not dead. We just comprehend not. So if their mind is in us, as long as we stand on truth, as long as that truth is here, we are here. So this is why the ministers say, I can't die. Not that he's, spooky and think that his physical body will never go away. But he has done such a great job at putting his mind in us, that wisdom, those morals in us, those principles in us. He's going to always be here. And that's the only way here at the farms is going to survive, as well. Us being able to take what we've been given and transfer that knowledge into the youth, transfer that knowledge into the capable men, and that load and that stress will be off of us, so we can keep some of that black hair and not be all gray at the top.
That's right. And I'm going to share something, man. Now, I love my brothers. I work with them. I'll be down there this weekend. We're going down to the site to go look at the properties and pass out some deeds. Those are my brothers. But the reason why they are going to continue to be successful is because out of that whole time that we've been going back and forth to that place and having these discussions, there is no greed attached to what they're doing.
Come on, go ahead.
From what I've seen.
Good teaching.
From what I've seen. Because the greed is what kills growth in the community. It kills growth because everybody's looking out for themselves or what can they get out of it. But when you're looking to give, when you're looking to do for the community and build something, you can't be greedy. And so they're not greedy. They have not been greedy this whole time. They've been trying to do as much as they can to give back to the group, so we can have something that we can pass down to our families and pass down to their families. So we have generational wealth. That's what's necessary, And so that's all I got to say on that, man. Keep doing everything y'all doing. Shout out to my brother Farrakhan Muhammad, of course, brother Farrakhan Muhammad Ali, and always brother Ben X.
Yes, sir.
Brother Ben X. Shout out to my peoples. I'll see y'all. Saturday?
See them on Saturday.
So I'll see y'all on Saturday.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, we and I can speak for Jabril on this as well. We have enjoyed working with them as well in these last couple months, just putting together a lot of STEM-based activities for our communities. And we have a lot of good things coming down the pipe in terms of exposing young people to how to invent and how to innovate and how to do things along those lines, how to protect your invention, intellectual property, stuff like that. And with Original Man Scientific focusing on those things, we're seeing a lot of great things come from that work. So seeing what you can take out of your mind and out of your spirit and out of everything you've been taught and trained be fleshed out to change someone's life is insane. That's incredible, So I just want to shout them out as well. I love what they're doing.
Yes.
But I'm not a big talker on that. So we're gonna move on to the next thing. So the show is coming to an end. And I was talking to Jabril about bringing something back to the platform. It's called the speed round. So we just ask you a whole bunch of random questions, and you got to answer them real quick.
I'm ready.
You got 5 seconds to answer them. If you can't answer, we got to move on to the next one. You got the questions, bro?
I'm right here with it.
Let's go.
All right, let's get it. So let's go.
All right, here we go. You ready?
No.
All right. The first thing you do or think of when you wake up.
Pray.
Hot or cold?
Hot.
Walking or jogging?
Jogging.
Professional work or volunteer work?
Dang, that's a good one. Both.
Favorite pair of shoes of all time?
Boots.
iPhone or Android?
Android all day.
Hey, no, hold on. Thank you so much.
Android.
I will never cross over.
Oh
ever.
Oh my God.
Why
put it up to the screen, bro, Rasool. Rasool, put it up to the screen real quick. What you got? What you got?
That new wide joint.
Oh, you want to see what I got?
Oh, you got the
Z Fold.
You got that. Wow. See, exactly. See, it's still alive, and this is why I love Brother Rasool. He stays true to the best one. But I'm gonna move on. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
So we done took a pause. So we done slowed it up. We're gonna go back to fast. All right. So iPhone, Android, answer that. Favorite thing to cook?
Really? I cook everything. Lamb.
Favorite song of all time?
Anything Prince or Michael Jackson.
Youth engagement or raising money for your nonprofit?
Youth engagement.
The worst job you've ever had?
Damn, that's a hard one. McDonald's.
If you were stuck on an island for a year, you could only listen to 3 albums. What would they be?
Kanye, Prince, and Michael Jackson. Those 3.
Okay.
Artists. Okay.
Those 3 artists.
If you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
Master Rasool Muhammad.
Current though.
The master.
He's
The
always
master.
current.
That's right.
Past, present, and future.
Okay, yes, sir. If I wasn't, co-founder and of Global Apprenticeship, what would I be, or what would you be?
What would you be doing right now outside of that?
He said a doctor. Okay.
Doctor.
So,
Yeah.
listen to this. So, my name is Rasool Muhammad, and I am
a God.
There it is.
Force and power. I mean, he's doing that.
Come on now.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
And for those who don't understand what brother said, we're gonna make it very clear. None of us here are the supreme being, but God, meaning one possessing power and force. We do that, and we're striving to do it very well to where we can literally answer people's prayers. So when you sit there and ask for a cure to something, or you ask for something to be made better, we can go to work and say kun fayakun, or
That's
be
right.
this is going to be, and it put that work in is. Now you have the answer to that which you strive for.
That's right.
So that's what we mean when brother says, I am a God. Little G.
Little G, not big G.
Not big G, little G.
The scripture says, what is it? Have you not learned or been told, that ye are all God's children of the Most High? You grow up, what will you be? So just think on that as we close today's show. But thank you, bro. Beautiful answers, beautiful segment. Yes. We are ready for part 2. I can't wait. I can't wait.
That's right.
Absolutely. And what would you like to leave the audience with, Rasool, as we close?
Stay tuned. I thank you all for listening. I look forward to talking to you all again. I'm getting used to being on camera. I'm not really big on that, but stay tuned. We coming to your city. We going out west, and it's not going to take a long time because I don't believe in wasting time. I believe in getting to the work. So, like I said, right now we in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Mississippi. We spreading up to DC area and all the surrounding areas, including Virginia. We hitting Detroit, and then we heading out west. We're gonna hit Texas. We're gonna hit LA. We're gonna hit all of the California, and we're gonna hit Nevada. So all that within this year, we're gonna work to get going. So we'll see y'all soon.
And last thing, because we gotta do this. You get given so much insight, passion, but one of the things that I think is so important to have our audience hear from, the guest is a bit of advice. So if you had one thing you could say to anyone, whether they're a student, professional, young, more seasoned, or what have you, as it pertains to what we talked about today, or just trying to manifest their own desires and dreams, what would that be?
I would say keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Don't close your mind to what it is you think you know. We don't know it all. I don't know it all. I make mistakes every single day, but I'm always striving to be better. And in order to strive to be better, you have to know that you have to be open to receiving advice from others and hearing things that you haven't heard before and acknowledging things that make sense. And so I'll say that. And I will also say, because I can't leave this off, if you have not taken the time to actually listen to the Swan Song by
Come on now, go ahead.
Farrakhan,
go ahead.
There we go. There we go.
And listen to the Swan Song. Because it's a swan song for us all.
That's right.
That's right. It's for us all. So we got.
We all thought it was his. Nope.
We all thought it was his. It wasn't for him. It was for us. So let's get it right. Work on it. So that's all I got.
Excellent, excellent. Well, family, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. I didn't really care how late it was because I really didn't notice the time. But our brother has fed us. This is. Like he said in the beginning, we've been trying to get brother on the show for a minute, and he finally decided to, that it's been too long. Let's go ahead and give the people what they need.
I had to lean on him a little bit, just a little bit.
Of course.
Here in my city, I can't run from.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent.
We gotta go see Bro Patrick Farm. We gotta go, Bro Patrick. We coming.
Yes,
sir. Come to the farm around the horses, man. So that's right.
And Jabro, have you been on that farm yet?
Yes.
Since you've been back and forth? You have?
Mm-hmm.
Got you, man. And I love Brother Patrick and what he's doing. That farm, what's he got? He has more than 30 acres now, right?
Oh yeah, he got a lot of acres. And the farm we're talking about, people, is Your Faith Farms. I'm plugging all day.
Go ahead.
Your Faith Farms is what we're
That's what it's
talking about.
for. Come on
That's
now.
man. When I say it's beautiful out there, and he is the go-to for anything farm related. He is the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen anybody that can take agribusiness to the level that he's taken it and then expanded it. And once again, he's not greedy. He gives more than he gives information. He gives out everything that you need in order to get started. So he's a wealth of knowledge.
And he's a STEM Files alumni as well.
Yes.
So
right.
that might be
check that episode out.
A lot telling us to bring him back.
Oh yeah. Back on here, yeah.
Absolutely, family. And next week we have another dynamic guest. We have Kia Brown. She's a biotechnology student and getting her master's degree in biotechnology from Morehouse School of Medicine. Nice. She'll be talking about her journey as a biotechnology student, as well as her company, I Heart Biotech, where she teaches Black women about science and empowers them through science. So she'll be joining us next Thursday, March 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern time. The same way you watch this, the same way you can watch that next week. So definitely tap into that, family. Jabril?
Absolutely. Before we leave, family, we're not going to let bro leave without plugging where you can find him. You can ask questions, seek advice, go into business. So definitely tell us where people can find you, social media, website, or what have you.
Definitely. So the website is globalapprenticeship.org. You can also check out Project Outsource Connects, POConnects.com. You definitely want to catch me online. Global Apprenticeship. Follow me there, because my other page, I use that one too much, and I don't use this one enough.
Right.
So follow Global Apprenticeship on Instagram, please. Please do, because I don't get that page no love. I'm doing better. I'm getting better though. I'm about to post a whole bunch of stuff and the content and whatnot. But definitely do that. Of course, you can always find me on Facebook, Rasool Muhammad. For all my folks I went to school with, you got to find me, because that's what they know me by.
Right.
So Rasool Muhammad on Facebook. And thank you. That's all I got.
And don't worry, family. We definitely put the link to Global Apprenticeship in the caption, or however you're watching, caption or in the description on YouTube. So definitely go ahead and click the link if you're interested in learning more about Global Apprenticeship. But like my brother always says, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. We are the voice of STEM talent in Black culture. Tariq Cardiac, your brain engineer, Rasool Muhammad. This has been a great show, and we definitely look forward to seeing you next week. Peace.
Excellent.
Peace, family.
Peace.